Welcome to the club. Long overdue, you deserve it.
It is the most exclusive club in Northern California, Nevada, and Hawaii television. Nobody buys their way into the gold or silver circles. Other members vote.
Long overdue, you deserve it.
Tonight we add 9 new members. 7 to silver, 2 to gold. From a director behind the scenes who has spent decades calling the shots documenting our culture and our history.
This is the 50th anniversary of the bridge.
To the groundbreaking news director who first appeared on television at 2 years old.
I wasn't going to go into news. I thought I was a business major. I thought I would go into sales, but news was more fun.
Also tonight, we'll honor this legendary San Francisco reporter. She adds credibility to any event just by being there.
I'm Laura Anthony in Napa, in the Silverado Country Club and Resort neighborhood where the sun is setting on a day of utter devastation.
Laura Anthony will join 2 other colleagues from ABC7.
Now this is fun.
It will be an encore for this down-to-earth but high-flying anchor and reporter.
Flying in the backseat of one is kind of like a kick in the pants.
And it's long overdue for the consumer czar who's done more than a little pants-kicking himself.
This is your opportunity to talk. You don't want to talk? You want to apologize to these people?
Silver circle. Silver circle.
Tonight, you'll both read and hear about a beloved NBC 11 news director with a reputation for being a cheerleader. She's been doing that longer than you might think.
I started as a film editor, and then I worked my way into becoming a cameraman.
And you'll hear the backstory behind a Sacramento icon who shattered racial barriers in the 1970s. Plus, no, we're not recognizing Pat Sajak. Instead, the Iron Man of Hawaii News.
He has one of the unique styles in the history of broadcast journalism, and no one makes me laugh more than Joe.
Oh, hey, oh. April Fools!
So that makes 8. Have we left anyone out?
Joining us tonight with sports, here is Barry Tompkins. Barry?
Of course, and with a little-known secret, that while he's a household name, it did not happen as expected.
To be honest, I never aspired to be a sportscaster. I was going to make $1 million in show business, singing rock and roll.
Too late now. Welcome to the Gold and Silver Circles, our halls of fame.
Hello and welcome to the 2021 Gold and Silver Circle Induction. My name is Randy Forsman and I am the president of the San Francisco Northern California chapter of NATAS. I would like to thank everybody for joining us this Saturday night. Normally, we would be together for an induction luncheon, but once again, our Board of Governors made the difficult but responsible decision to hold this event virtually. Tonight, we honor and celebrate the accomplishments of 9 distinguished individuals who've left their mark on the broadcasting industry as a whole. 7 will join the Silver Circle, an honor dedicated to those with over 25 years of service to the medium. 2 will join the exclusive Gold Circle, reserved for those few who have spent 50-plus years in broadcasting. As you watch our program tonight from the comfort of your home, I would like to encourage everyone to share their anecdotes and memories of tonight's inductees on social media using the hashtag MESF. At the conclusion of tonight's program, I would also like to encourage everyone to join us on Zoom for our after party to congratulate all of our inductees tonight. An integral part of every Gold and Silver Circle induction is the presentation of our chapter's college scholarships. This year, we are awarding a total of $15,000 to 5 students from across the region. Last weekend, our education chair, Toby Momtaz, sat down with each of our 5 scholarship recipients to discuss their entries, their next career steps, and what receiving a NATAS scholarship means to them. The entire 70-minute program can be viewed on our website, but I would like to play for you now a composite of those conversations to give you a chance to meet our wonderful recipients.
Each year, the San Francisco Northern California chapter of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences offers college scholarships. This year, A total of $15,000 is being awarded to 5 undergraduate and graduate students. The Peter J. Marino Jr. Memorial Undergraduate Production Scholarship is awarded to Sarah Lamb, California State University, Long Beach. I'm interested in finding out how much of your own experiences you drew from in creating this project.
So I worked with a bunch of different people, and all of us grew up in Oakland, and we grew up with a lot of diversity, and we wanted to highlight that. We hear about diversity all the time, but for some people, they don't know what that experience is like. And also, people know Oakland for its crimes, but I don't think the crimes entirely define Oakland. So we wanted to show that diversity brings a lot of empathy.
The Sheldon Shelley Fay Memorial Undergraduate Videography Scholarship is awarded to Enrique Landeros, Berkeley City College. Congratulations to Enrique. Enrique, please tell us about the project and why it was important for you to enter it as a part of your application.
Well, this project meant so much for me. First, when I first started making this project, I was hoping to work a little bit more on what sexual expression was, a little bit on gender equality and inequalities. But right after the interview, I just fell in love with the work that Nina does for the communities, and I spent so much time doing research, working with them to to tell their story to the best of my capabilities. It was I don't know, it just meant so much for me. I think us as media creators, as content creators, we have that responsibility to tell this type of stories, to tell the stories of members of our communities who are here to make a change.
The Jerry Jensen Memorial Graduate Journalism Scholarship is awarded to Leah Heimgartner, University of California, Berkeley, Graduate School of Journalism. How does receiving this scholarship fall into your plans? Well, how's it going to help you?
I very much appreciate it, and it's going to help me a lot because, as I mentioned earlier, I'm currently in my second year, and I'm working on my thesis film, which they cost a lot of money. And so I'm hoping that this scholarship will help me actually fund this film that I'm currently working on.
That's awesome. I really hope that you'll be able to put it to some good use and get a nice thesis film out of it. The Miss Nancy Best Memorial Graduate Production Scholarship is awarded to Dolan Mello, University of California, Berkeley, Graduate School of Journalism. Congratulations, Dolan. Dolan, what's your encouragement for other college students, thinking about becoming future applicants for scholarships? What would your advice be?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say hone in on what feels good to you. Oftentimes, whether we're in a program or just we're feeling pressure from outside of us, we're often pushed to tell a story maybe in a way that isn't comfortable for you, doesn't feel authentic to you, maybe doesn't feel culturally competent to you. And so my advice would be to tell stories that feel right to you, that, maybe even push the norms of how storytelling has been. If you feel like you have a way that could do it better, and maybe you have advisors who are pushing for that as well. I would just say, tell stories that feel good from your heart.
The Linda Giannettini Memorial Professional Development Scholarship is awarded to Zoe Rosenblum, Berkeley City College. Being the winner of this scholarship, how important is it to you, and how is it going to help you in your future plans?
Yeah, the money is great. It's really helpful. It'll help me really build out the fire documentary, which I would like to be a longer piece. But also it's just extremely validating to know that the work I've been doing isn't going unnoticed.
I'd like to offer our congratulations to Sarah, Enrique, Leah, Dolan, and Zoe on being our 2021 college scholarship winners. Our chapter takes great pride in presenting these deserving students with their scholarships.
Congratulations once again to each of our 5 scholarship recipients. You will give an opportunity to congratulate them following this program on our Zoom after party. Each year, our education committee dedicates hours of their time to select students deserving of a NATAS scholarship. New for 2022 is the Fred Zender Memorial Scholarship. Fred Zender, as you may know, the retired former news director of KTVU Channel 2, tragically lost his life when he was struck and killed in Alameda while walking in a crosswalk by an alleged drunk driver on June 27th. Friends, former and current staff members of KTVU, helped work with our chapter to establish a scholarship in Zender's name to honor and recognize his many decades of mentoring others in television news. Our chapter is proud to help deserving students with promise to pursue a journalism career. Contributions to the Fred Zender Memorial Scholarship and all of our scholarships can be made on our website, mesf.tv. Thank you, everyone, once again for joining us tonight, and congratulations to all of our inductees. And with that, I would like to toss it to our awards chair, Wayne Friedman.
Welcome to the Silver Circle Induction. It's a wonderful tradition. It is hard to believe we held our first of these ceremonies 35 years ago. It was 1986, and we held our first Gold Circle in 2002. After tonight, if you're wondering, we will have 285 Silver Circle members and 25 more in the Gold. That is 9 new names added to these ranks of the most esteemed and accomplished professionals tonight. A meeting of this group is kind of like chocolate. You don't know what you're missing. You don't know how good it is until you've had it and until you've been there. We are friends. We are former colleagues. We are former rivals in some cases. We're all family, both real and professional. And we're another year older, and we're wiser. We're even more far-flung than we would like. I'm coming to you tonight from Pinehurst, North Carolina, where I now live. Sadly, several of our members have passed on. They do so every year. Let us honor them first with the Linda Giannichini in memoriam.
By the way, my wife Vicky is here. We're coming up on 32 years of marriage, so super glue works. The adventure continues just with more clouds in the background.
All I can say is thank you very, very much.
And now in their honor, perhaps a moment of silence and reflection we'll hold for a few seconds here. All wonderful people, and we miss not having them with us. As Randy mentioned a few moments ago, we are establishing a Fred Zender Memorial Scholarship to help the next generation of journalists. This will honor Fred for years to come, and he certainly deserves it. So now, on to the happy task at hand. You're about to hear the stories of 9 remarkable people voted in by the members of this group. As I said in the intro, it is our Hall of Fame. It is an event not like anything else, and no one would serve as a proper, not just anybody would serve as a proper host. So this year, we looked for someone special, and we found him. A 6-time Emmy Award recipient and a member of this group since 2009. A man who, we might add, has not missed a day of work since 1981. Based on that, we figured he would probably show up tonight. He has, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Vaker.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you very much. Tonight, I will be your MCC, Master of Canadian Club, and also the Master of Ceremonies. I'm also here really to be a traffic cop. And what a traffic cop does is keep things going. And we have to do that so inductees and certainly presenters do what you promised to do, which is to stay on time. And that's the last time I think I'll have to say that. Otherwise, we'll be left with what Johnny Carson said about the Academy Awards. He says, 2 hours of spectacular entertainment in a program lasting over 4 hours long. So let us proceed. Silver Circle inductee, Stanton Tang, Colo 8, Reno, news director. His presenter is Denise Wong, news anchor. For more than 5 years now, Denise has been the evening anchor at Reno station KOLO. She has an MS degree from Boston University, also has a BA from the University of California, Los Angeles. Her television career has taken her all across the country, from being a reporter-producer at WXTV Tallahassee to Las Vegas as a fill-in anchor to CBS Sacramento and to Colo, where she is now the main anchor. She says she loves her job but has 3 other things that she thinks are really, really important, and that is being a mommy, being a wife, and being one of the world's best nacho fans. Ladies and gentlemen, Denise Wong.
Good evening, I'm Denise Wong, an anchor here at Colo in Reno, and I was honored to nominate my news director, Stanton Tang, for the Silver Circle. Not only is he an accomplished journalist and news manager, he's been an inspiring leader for Asian Americans in this industry. Throughout his career, he's been committed to bringing more diversity and distinct voices into the newsroom. And he's just a great person. It's my privilege to introduce your inductee into this year's Silver Circle, Stanton Tang.
Well, the first time I was on TV, I was like 2 years old, and it was a promo, a public service event for the city of Phoenix. So that's one of the few times I've allowed myself to be on camera. But I started at KPNX. I had the chance to get an internship in news. I wasn't going to go into news. I thought I was a business major. I thought I would go into sales, but news was more fun, so I stayed there. And got hired at KPNX while I was still in school. So I was lucky enough to get a career before I graduated. Didn't have to go to the job search. From there, the opportunity came up at KCRA in Sacramento. I got to do amazing things at KCRA. The first of my 2 hurricanes that I covered. I did a presidential summit. Got to just do some great producing through some amazing times with the floods and with the earthquakes.
I got to tell you guys, when Stanton Tang came to KCRA, he established himself right off the bat as a super solid producer. You could put anything in front of him, any newscast, any special project, and you knew it was going to get done. I always felt confident looking across the newsroom and saying, oh, Stanton's doing the 5, or Stanton's doing the noon, or Stanton's working on such and such a project. And we were always so confident in his ability to get things done for Channel 3.
But more importantly, it's also where I met my wife, and got started on that different career path for me. From KCRA, I went to KLAS in Las Vegas. That was a chance to move into management. Ironically, my wife had said that she never wanted to leave California, so we moved to Las Vegas and moved up in management at KLAS, which was a great shop in Las Vegas. From there, she said she didn't want to move anyplace cold, so we moved to Michigan, to WZZM in Grand Rapids. That place gave me the opportunity to be a news director for the first time. I started as an EP and worked my way up. Tremendous staff, great storytellers, and it was a place that we really loved being, but we were far from the West, so we decided, we took an opportunity to come here back to Reno and Colo to be closer to family. So we brought our kids, and this is where we've really, I think, had a chance to have an impact on the community. And so at one point I was elected to the National Vice President of the Asian American Journalists Association. I was actually at the first convention they threw in LA, and back then the Asian American journalists didn't really know each other. There were so few of us in the industry, but over the years AAJA has grown up and all of us have grown around it. So that was a great opportunity. I've had chances to do other things in the business. I was on the ABC News Directors Advisory Board. I was on committees with Gannett at the corporate level, and I got to teach at Poynter. So a lot of good experiences, a lot of good chances to meet people. I really don't want them to think of me. I want them to think of all the stories that I was able to participate in and the stories that my staff was able to do. As a news director, as an EP, as the other roles I've been in, and it was to make other people better. And I hope that people will think of me as someone who helped make the industry better, who helped to mentor young journalists and to help people to improve their skills. So as a news director, the old joke is you go to a lot of meetings, you don't really do any real work. But the real work I think I've been trying to accomplish is to make the journalists around me better.
Well, in the course of my career, I've had the honor of working for great television newsrooms and with great coworkers. I've been a witness to history, and it has been a privilege to serve the community through the earthquakes, the floods, the hurricanes, and fires. But there's also been lighter times. I mean, how many people have had the chance to field produce at a Super Bowl? But for more than 20 years, my wife has been there to support me, keeping the home together through all the long hours and nights at the office. I don't think she ever planned to marry a journalist who would take her thousands of miles away from home. And yet she has been there for me and our children. So thank you, May. And our children, when we were leaving Michigan to move back to Nevada, our daughter mentioned that the PE teacher in her school knew we were making a move. We told her that Daddy's job was pretty big deal, and her teacher probably read it in the local newspaper. Her response was, "Dad, you're making that up." So the kids really knew how to keep me grounded. And I have to thank my parents for their support. Journalism is not a typical career choice for a young Asian American, but my parents are always behind me. Thanks to the Academy for this honor, and to the members of the Silver Circle, and to all my friends and colleagues with whom I have shared this journey that hopefully will continue for a long time to come. Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations very much. You know, Natalie Portman said, "The work is reward in and of itself." Our next Silver Circle inductee is Stephanie Aruni, Vice President of News, KNTV, NBC Bay Area. The presenter, Kevin Keeshan, Senior Vice President of News Content, NBC Universal, and the owned television stations. He also serves as ombudsman for NBC News in New York. His TV experience is vast and diverse, more than 35 years worth of television experience. Earlier in his career, he worked as a consumer and investigative reporter, as well as a TV news anchor. Before NBC, from 2002 to 2012, Keeshan lived in the Bay Area and was a vice president of news and director of San Francisco's KGO-TV, ABC7, before he moved off to NBC. Today, Keeshan works closely with his local stations to ensure that the company's high standards for news gathering are met and are kept across the country. He also works closely with stations on investigative and consumer reporting efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, presenter Kevin Keeshan.
20 years ago, when I became news director at ABC7, a very young Stephanie Aruni was producing the 11 o'clock news. She soon became the executive producer of that newscast, in no small part because she was wise beyond her years. So it's really no surprise that someone still so young, at least in my mind, would be inducted into the Silver Circle with so much of her career still ahead of her. Steph's quick rise to Dayside EP, then assistant news director, and then vice president for news at NBC Bay Area really surprised nobody who had worked with her. Her dedication, her work ethic, and passion for news, along with her commitment to her team, made her an obvious choice. Her thoughtful, ethical news judgment sets her apart from many in our profession. And her belief that you can make a difference in the communities that you cover with source-driven enterprise reporting is really what makes working for Steph so much fun. I've loved every minute of Steph's journey. I've loved being along for the ride, and I'm just so happy to be able to continue to call her my friend and my colleague. Congratulations, Steph. The recognition of the Silver Circle is well-deserved.
You're the kind of leader we all aspire to be. Strong, transparent, committed to shining a light in the dark corners, of holding the powerful accountable, sometimes even me. Anyhow, you set an example for all of us. Congratulations on this, and I am so glad we are on the same team.
Steph, the truth is I would follow you anywhere, not just because you're a great journalist, but because you're an amazing human, woman, sister, aunt, friend, and newsroom leader. And you lead the newsroom with your heart as much as with your mind. And after 2 decades together, I have to admit, you're really good about calling me out on my anchor diva stuff, too. So congrats, Steph. We love you.
Your dedication to our craft is second to none. You celebrate our personal victories with us, and you are there when we stumble as well. You listen, you care about us, and that's something that I just respect so much and I admire.
Like a fine wine, you keep getting better. Best boss ever, hands down. So I want to toast your leadership. I want to toast your inspiration. But most of all, I want to thank you for your friendship all these years.
Stephanie Adruni. If I know you are not loving this limelight. But sister, we are here to sing your praises. Anyone who has been on Stephanie Adruni's team can tell you she is whip smart. She sets an example with her work ethic, and she cares about her staff and helps them all to be their very best.
Congrats.
So for better or worse, I've written this verse for my good friend at NBC, Bay Area. I treasure our time together, elections, big fires, bad weather. I won't call it heaven, our years at Channel 7, but to me there was nobody better. I always admired your attitude. You usually gave me some latitude. Balanced and fair, you are always right there, for which I have nothing but gratitude.
Silver circle, silver circle, congratulations to Stephanie. Welcome to the club. Long overdue, you deserve it. Cheers. Your integrity, your journalistic instincts, and all of the support you gave me over the years. Congratulations to you.
Hi, Stephanie. I don't have a piano, but I do have a Pomeranian. Thank you for an uncompromising dedication to investigative journalism, especially now, and for letting us use 5-syllable words when a 3-syllable word probably would have sufficed. Congrats, Steph.
Stephanie, you are an amazing person, a talented leader. Congratulations on joining the Silver Circle.
My favorite Steph story from 2013, the 49ers are playing the Ravens in the Super Bowl, and one night the wind just starts whipping through like a hurricane. And Steph, seeing impending disaster with the lights swaying like this, she grabs a light over here and the monitor's on the floor, and she puts her foot out and is holding the top of the monitor with her foot and stays this way during the entire sportscast. Steph was our MVP of the Super Bowl, and I know she's the MVP for everybody.
Stephanie, you've got the DuPont,
An Emmy,
a Murrow,
a Peabody,
and an SPJ. So you're a DEMS.
That's better than an EGOT.
And now a Silver Circle.
Though I don't think she was joking the very first day we met. I was here to interview for the consumer reporter job, and she asked me right out of the gate, "Chris, have you ever been sued?" That was a solid gold start to our relationship. Stephanie, congratulations joining the Silver Circle.
From being inducted into the Silver Circle, you shall be referred to as Your Highness. High heels will never hurt your feet again. And should you experience any foot pain from your heels, a promo producer will carry you from meeting to meeting in a harness fashioned from all the promo scripts you've rejected throughout the years.
My friend Stephanie to a T, smart, compassionate, educated, insightful, just so very stylish. Thank you for being such an inspiration and mentor to me and to so many other people.
What an honor for you, and what an honor really for us to work with you.
And it is a pleasure to be under your leadership, and this is just an honor well deserved.
You are an extremely smart, hardworking, very successful, extremely loving daughter who makes mom and me to be very proud parents. Stephanie, I love you with all my heart. Dad.
Congratulations, Stephanie. I'm so proud of who you are. May you have good health, many more accomplishments, and a lot of happiness in your life. I love you, and I'm so proud of you being my daughter. Thank you for being my best friend also.
Never repeat. Okay, wow. Gosh, thank you to all my friends and colleagues who helped make that video. Big thank you to my friend Christine Nee, who is standing near me right now, and Michael Horn for putting that video together. I had not seen that until tonight. So I'm a little emotional, but thank you. I love you guys very much. I would also like to thank the San Francisco NorCal chapter of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, as well as the Board of Governors, Daryl Compton, my good friend Wayne Friedman, who I miss so much, Randy Forsman, Tom Vakar, and the membership. And really a big congratulations go to my colleagues, Laura, Michael, Eric, Stanton, Adrian, Frank, Joe, and Barry. I feel truly honored to be among you tonight. Honestly, I never thought I would be here. And by here, I mean receiving this award and frankly, running a newsroom. All I ever wanted to do was tell good stories. But along the way, I've had some of the best mentors in the business who pushed me, spent time with me, worked with me, gave me critical, sometimes brutal feedback. They still do. But who also picked me up when I fell down and guided me down the right road when I made a mistake. That includes King Harris, Kevin Keeshan, Valerie Staub, Stacy Owen, Tracy Witkowski, and that's really only to name a few. Also, I truly have a wonderful family. As you can see, I didn't know they were going to be in the video, but who have supported me over the years, never complained once when I missed a holiday like Thanksgiving or Christmas because I had to work. And I've been lucky, really. I've worked with some of the best people in the business. A few of them are being honored tonight. Some are in the room with me here. Over the years, the job has certainly changed. Frankly, it's really gotten very hard to be a journalist. I think we all know that. Right now, we're forced to think about how do we keep our team safe when we cover a story. We have to watch out for the trolls who attack good, credible journalists at every turn. Social media, be on it, but be prepared to be scolded for trying to report the facts. And you can expect to take it on the chin if you're going to hold the powerful accountable. About a year ago, my sister gave me a really cool sweatshirt and it says, "America needs journalists." I love it, but frankly, in truth, I sometimes wear it with trepidation. I've had comments made, snide remarks when out in public, like journalists are just hacks. But really, that couldn't be further from the truth. The important check on power cannot be underestimated. For every journalist on this panel, and to those who continue to pursue the truth with gusto, know you are doing a noble job despite those who will continue to knock you down. And really, in my career, thank you to the producers, writers, photographers, directors, production staff, EPs, managing editors, assistant news directors, assignment desk group, engineers, IT, digital journalists, reporters, anchors, weather staff, general managers, everyone who continues to come to our business and work every day. What you do really matters. I do believe people want us to break through the clutter and tell them the truth. I hope that everyone who's listening and works in our business never stops pushing back. We cannot waver in our determination. And while many of us in this industry compete, we do and should have each other's backs every day. So I hope everyone here is inspired to do more. I know I am. Thank you again for this award. I'm beyond honored to receive it. And congrats to all my friends and colleagues.
Great. Speaking of awards, here's a quotation. Awards are wonderful. I've been nominated many times and I have won many awards, but my journey is not towards that. If it happens, it'll be a blast. If it doesn't, it's still been a blast. Tom Cruise. Our next Silver Circle inductee, Frank Zamacona. Zamacona Productions, producer and director. Jim Scalem was going to introduce our next Silver Circle inductee, but he was unable to do that. So Frank picked another longtime friend, 1995 Silver Circle inductee, an Emmy Award winner, and Governor's Medallion recipient, and NATAS Executive Director Daryl Compton, the heart and soul of NATAS and broadcast legends. Ladies and gentlemen, Daryl Compton. You go get him, buddy.
Thank you, Tom. I was hoping that Jimmy would be with us tonight. Jimmy is, used to be roommates with me when we worked at KQED together. And Jimmy is now Silver Circle and Gold Circle. A terrific guy. And I would have lots of stories to tell you about Frank Zamacona. But I'm here instead. And I love Frank also. He's a super guy. We served on the board together. He was on the board back in the 80s for a number of years, actually directed a couple of the Emmy galas for us, and then received the Governor's Service Medallion all the way back in 1990. In fact, that was the year that Linda, John, and Katie and I also received it. Frank really took off on the directing side. He was at KQED for 10 years or so doing Comedy Tonight. It went locally and then went nationally. And then he started doing all this live entertainment stuff around the nation and around the world. And finally got hooked on operas and actually has become one of the top opera directors, television directors in the world, and travels around the world to different opera companies doing their video for them. In fact, tonight he's in Chicago doing an opera, but we got a hold of him before the show started tonight so we could say hello to us. But first, I want to show you some examples of Frank's work.
How you doing? I'm Al Sharp, your man on the street. Today we're in San Francisco's North Beach. You know, we've covered a lot of neighborhoods, but today we're going in the Cafe Trieste, and this place is a neighborhood unto itself. You're a neighborhood fireman?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, where would you rather be, in the firehouse or the Cafe Trieste?
I would say the Cafe Trieste.
This is the 50th anniversary of the bridge, and this is the first time since opening day in 1937 that pedestrians have been invited to flood the roadway.
God, it's magnificent.
I can't believe this many people got up this early to have such a good time.
How's your bridge?
My bridge?
You have
it's still suspending.
Paranoia strikes deep into your life, it will creep. See the stars every night and every day. In your eyes, I get lost.
Dry bedroom, nice little patio for barbecuing. I take my steak rare, by the way. No problem. We've got the tools, we've got the know-how, and we'll be right over. Because Dario, you're in way over your head.
Hi, I'm Frank Hamakota. I'm in Chicago, and I just wanted to thank the TV Academy for this great honor, and just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself and how I got into the industry. And I first want to thank, before I go there, is thank Daryl Compton and all the volunteers who put this together. I'm a native San Franciscan, and I went to San Francisco State like a lot of other people in the industry in the Bay Area, and got into teaching, but then I found that I really liked broadcasting and television. So in 1977, I volunteered for The Choice, which was a project at KPIX under Galen Daly and Shelley Faye. And Vince Castellano and Ben Bile brought me in. And it was a terrific project, and I really loved it. Got the bug, got a part-time job as a stage manager at KQED from 78 to 81. Worked on Over Easy and local news there.
Hello.
And then 81 to 91, I produced a series called Comedy Tonight, which featured over 45 comedians from 81 to 91, and featured the TV premiere of Whoopi Goldberg, Dana Carvey, Bobcat Goldthwait, Kevin Pollak, and many others. And Had a chance also to work with Mal Sharp, the man on the street who's no longer with us, unfortunately. He passed about a year and a half ago, but got to work with some great people there. Nat Katzman, Jim Scalem, Janice Blackschlager, June Willette. And from there, I went to KGO and freelanced from 91 to 2006 and did some great projects, promos and entertainment specials from Tina Turner, Katie Lang, some great national promos with Peter Jennings, but worked with Maggie Baxter and Missy Crawford, Lisa Simmons, some great people there. So from about 1995 to 2005, I did once in a while, I worked with the Grateful Dead, and I did 3 specials for them, and they were great to work with. They still were under Grateful Dead Inc., and I want to thank David Lemieux, who is still the archivist, and we had a great run on that. That was terrific. From 2007 to now, I've been directing operas, over 68 operas, San Francisco Ballet, a few ballet projects, and quite a bit for the San Francisco Symphony, and really enjoying it. So again, I want to thank the Academy, and I want to congratulate all the inductees on the Silver Circle, especially Eric Thomas and Michael Finney, who I had a chance to work with at KGO. And I want to give a shout out to Barry Tompkins, who I watched on television when I was in high school, and I thought he was a cool guy. And I want to thank my wife, Bridget, who has stood beside me, and our 2 kids, who are adults now, they're in their 40s, but I want to thank them for putting up with me on all those long hours. So thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Silver Circle inductee Adrian Woodfork, KCRA Sacramento photographer, reporter, program host, now retired. Presenter, Silver Circle class of 2016, I think it is, Joyce Mitchell, owner and producer of 4U Productions and TV Rebels with a Cause. With more than 40 years of experience in TV, passion has always driven Ms. Mitchell. Passion coupled with television has led her to produce memorable programs that help make the world a much better place. She has 7 regional Emmy Awards for her documentary work. In 2017, she received the Governor's Award, a Lifetime Achievement Emmy statuette, the highest award a chapter can bestow. She currently serves as NATAS Sacramento Vice President and a National Trustee. She's also an HIV/AIDS activist and president of Capital City AIDS Fund, a Northern California nonprofit serving people affected and infected by HIV/AIDS. Mitchell has her BA in Government Journalism from Sacramento State University and her MA in Communication Studies. Ladies and gentlemen, Joyce Mitchell.
Hello, and thank you so much. It's an honor to be here tonight to introduce Adrian Woodfork and welcome him into the Silver Circle, and congratulations to all the inductees. It is an honor society, and therefore I respect the work, the commitment, the dedication of everyone we're speaking with and hearing from tonight. I met Adrian it's hard to believe, but about 50 years ago. And I walked into KCRA Sacramento NBC affiliate, Channel 3. And back then in 1975, I was one of a handful of women in that newsroom. And I was lost. I was coming from print. I had been a Capitol correspondent. And he saw me meandering about the newsroom and about to get shuffled to the side. And Adrian said, "Come here." And he took me to his edit bay and he put his arm around me and he said, "I'm going to teach you this. This is what an SOF is." That's how long ago it was. Sound on film. This is what a voiceover is. He took care of me. And all these years later, I am still doing the craft. It's amazing. If it wasn't for Adrian, I wouldn't be here today, still working. Adrian became a mentor to many. I was just one of dozens of people he helped, and he worked on diversifying that newsroom. Adrian became the first African American journalist on television in Sacramento. I became the second female producer in Sacramento, and it was because of Adrian. Adrian worked on mentoring many, many people like me, and especially in communities of color, to make sure that everyone represented in our viewing audience was also represented behind the scenes and in front of the camera. To hear more about what Adrian did and what he still does, because he's not really retired, he still produces videos on the side. And I must also say, I love this man dearly. I love him like a brother. I love him like a dear, dear friend. And I know his mother is watching tonight. Hello, Medea. I love you. Let's take a look back now at Adrian's career to see why he is being inducted into the Silver Circle tonight.
Adrian Woodfork's journey to the broadcast field was never on the straight and narrow. He was born in Louisiana and moved to California in the mid-50s, where for the first time he attended integrated schools.
My father was in the Air Force, and it proved to be a culture shock to be uprooted from a segregated society. It opened my eyes to many things. I felt free. I felt free to express myself.
And express himself he did. Adrian graduated Cal State Sacramento with a degree in public address and rhetoric.
I stopped at Sac State at the Ethnic Studies department one day, and the guy said, "Hey, how would you like to work at a television station?"
In 1970, Adrian was the first African American hired at KCRA in Sacramento, and later became the first to go on air as a reporter.
I started as a film editor, and then I worked my way into becoming a cameraman, and then a feature reporter. And then I won a fellowship to the Washington Journalism Center for 6 months. And I got a call while I was there from a friend of mine named Gary Cooper, and he said, "Hey, when you come back, let's do a magazine show." I called it To Be Somebody.
The To Be Somebody show served Northern California very well. As a matter of fact, it inspired my husband, who was a community activist and poet, to write one of his most famous poems, which was To Be Somebody. No matter how big, no matter how small, no matter how short, no matter how tall, no matter how weak, no matter how bold, to be somebody should be your goal.
To Be Somebody opened many doors for me, meeting famous people and traveling to faraway countries. But more importantly, I was able to open doors for other people of color, like reporter Alice Scott and cameraman Gilbert Rios.
Congratulations, Adrian, on your accomplishment. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be a cameraman. It's been 45 years since I've been in the business, and it's all because of you. You're my mentor, you took me under your wings, and I just adore you. Thank you and congratulations.
Adrian Woodfork was like the godfather to many of us. I know for me, he gave me my start. I was a news writer and a videotape editor when he gave me the opportunity to be a reporter on the To Be Somebody program. And later on, I became a producer and an anchor on that program, and that led me to becoming a reporter on KCRA News.
To Be Somebody ran for 18 years as a primetime public affairs show. During that time, it garnered many local and national awards. After leaving KCRA in 1988, Adrian went on to work on other magazine shows, including California Heartland and America's Most Wanted. For the past 20 years, he's worked for the California Department of Food and Agriculture, and I worked with him as his producer, cameraman, and editor, putting together over 50 stories in the Growing California series. Adrian was instrumental in founding the series, which received 9 Telly Awards and comprises an irreplaceable record of the lives of farming families and companies throughout California. I'll always be grateful to Adrian for his unwavering support, his mentoring, and most of all, his friendship. Thanks, Adrian, and congratulations.
Wow, that was incredible. Thank you so much, Lawrence Kapling, and Alice and Karen and Gilbert. You guys are still in my village because it takes a village to keep us all going. This is truly an honor to be inducted with such an illustrious group of broadcasters. I first want to thank God for allowing me to have had a successful career in broadcasting. And I want to say thanks to the committee members who voted on me for this great recognition, especially Joyce Mitchell, who was and still is my friend, who makes me laugh and cry on a weekly basis. Thank you, Joyce, for always being there through the ups and downs. And I just want to remind you, I am the Scrabble champion. I do let you win every now and then. But there's so many people who've helped me along the way. And they know who they are. And I love them very much. It's just, I don't have enough time to thank them all. And I really appreciate every last one of them, because in their way, they have definitely kept me going. I have to give a special thanks to the outstanding cameramen who gave life to my words over the years, starting with Jim Myers, Gilbert Rios, Ken Day, and of course, Lawrence Kapling. This is ironic that I'm receiving this award today because it's my grandmother's birthday. And she was the lady who instilled in me self-worth. And she, I have to say, she spoiled me rotten and let me know that I was somebody, even though we were living in the segregated South. Also, a big thanks to my mother and other family members who have helped me along the way and supported me in all of my endeavors. My wife and children and grandchildren, and even my doggies, they are my inspiration for living, and I thank them most of all.
Congratulations. Well deserved. Silver Circle inductee, Eric Thomas, KGO ABC 7. Presenter, Silver Circle class of 2016, Leanne Melendez of KGO TV. Leanne Melendez's story often makes a difference in the community because she does those stories from the heart. She's been with KGO since 1994 and has received numerous awards and accolades. Her 1999 report, Nicholas's Gift of Life, about a Bay Area boy whose organs were donated to 7 Italian recipients, received an Emmy Award. In 1992, she was named Latina Media Person of the Year from New York University. Before KGO, she worked at CNN Spanish in New York, where she was a senior correspondent and a fill-in anchor. She also worked television stations in San Juan, Puerto Rico. She has a BA degree in journalism from the University of Alabama and an MA in mass communications from the University of Wisconsin. Ladies and gentlemen, Leanne Melendez. University of Alabama.
Thanks, Tom. You know, I was introduced to Eric Thomas back in 1994 when I arrived at KGO, or should I say that Eric introduced himself to me because, you know, politeness and consideration for others is what has always distinguished Eric Thomas. Since then, I became a big fan of Eric. Like I said, I'm a fan. Now, let's get to know a little bit more about Eric. He was raised in St. Louis, Illinois, and in his words, I was a lousy high school football player on a lousy team. Instead, he joined his high school radio station and later did more radio at Southern Illinois University. Now, before coming to KGO TV, he worked for KMOV, the CBS affiliate in St. Louis, Missouri. Now, but there was something else on his mind, and we all know what that is. Planes and everything that has to do with the military. Now, can we talk? Or more to the point, can Eric talk and talk and talk about all things associated with the military? Yes, I think we all know the answer to that. Please nod if I'm right. You know, and I remember that I impressed him early on when I showed him my book on war, facts, and reference guide. I was now among his circle of friends. You know, Carolyn Tyler told me when you anchored with him, you knew that during that commercial break, he was going to talk about one thing. Get ready for it, planes. But you know, it was that knowledge that gained Eric the audience respect and trust. You knew that what Eric Thomas was saying was word. I still remember when he was covering a huge, huge industrial fire in the Bay Area. A lot of steel was burning. Most reporters would have said, a lot of steel is burning and melting. But this is what ABC7 News reporter Eric Thomas said on the air that night. This fire is burning at a very high temperature. Just to give you an idea, steel starts melting when it reaches 2,750 degrees Fahrenheit. Whoa! I was never more proud to be part of his team and of that newscast that evening. In the words of Mike Clark, Eric was the calming voice when everything went to shit. He was passionate about his career, but knew what was important in his life, his family. Robbie and Eric have been married for 36 years. Nothing gives them both more joy than his children, his 3 kids, Chris, Evan, and Brianna. Oh, and by the way, they have 1 dog and 3 cats. When he left KGO, we lost an important member of the team. Eric, you were an excellent player on an excellent team. You know, I'm always surprised by how people, you know, open up to reporters and how they allow us to be part of their most vulnerable moments. But many times we forget about that. And many times we take that for granted. But Eric never did. He gave them his respect, and they, in return, gave Eric their trust. In the words of Maya Angelou, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Eric, you are a gentle man among gentlemen. Welcome, my dear friend, to the Silver Circle.
The asbestos was wrapped around heating pipes like this one in this crawl space under the school building.
Eric Thomas joined ABC7 News in 1994, covering the rapidly growing cities along the Delta.
Sellers are hoping that a return to pleasant weather will mean a boost in sales.
The St. Louis native quickly became a part of our community. Over the years, he moved from the field.
Thanks a lot for joining us. I'm Kristen Z.
I'm Eric Thomas, topping our news
To the anchor desk and back to the field again. But regardless of where he was working, he always remembered the important role he had in keeping viewers like you informed. Eric loved reporting the day's news, whether it was here in the Bay Area or around the globe. He says a highlight was covering the historic 2000 presidential election, which was decided by 537 recounted votes in Florida when George W. Bush defeated Al Gore.
This is fun.
Eric's keen interest in military history took him where few reporters had gone before. He flew with the Blue Angels.
The top speed is nearly twice the speed of sound. Flying in the backseat of one is kind of like a kick in the pants.
And traveled to the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea.
This is Yongsan Army Garrison. There are about 4,500 U.S. soldiers based here. This controls what's called yaw.
If there's one thing Eric loves to talk about more than the military, it's airplanes. His expertise was invaluable when Asiana Flight 214 slammed into the runway at San Francisco International Airport. Eric was able to explain the intricate workings of the Boeing 777, providing viewers with insight into what may have led to that deadly crash.
You know, we know this snapped off, and I think this is a composite tail, which means it's not all metal.
A father and proud black man, Eric got personal, exploring an unfortunate rite of passage for young black men in America. The Talk, a conversation black parents have with their children about how they should interact with police.
It's not a new conversation. My folks had it with me in the 70s, and you could probably trace it back generations, if not centuries.
Whether he was interviewing someone famous or your next-door neighbor, we are all richer for knowing him.
In Antioch, in Oakland, in Concord, Eric Thomas, ABC 7 News. Hi, everybody. First, I want to say what an honor it is to join my esteemed colleagues in the Silver Circle. And since I'm in the Midwest on business, on family business, I can't join you, but I thought I'd take advantage of my presence here to take you back to where it all started. This is the Dunham Hall Communications Building on the campus of Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. Make that Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. I worked at the radio station in the basement here starting in 1982 and found out that I really liked it and it was much better than working for a living. This started a journey that would last here in this market for 10 years. Both in radio and television, and put me on the road to going to the Bay Area, where I did 26 years at KGO ABC 7 and enjoyed almost every moment of it. It is broadcasting, so almost every moment of it. But I was in the class of 1994 with such stalwarts as Dan Ashley and Dan Noyes and Mike Schumann and the terrific Leanne Melendez, who you've already heard from this evening. And I can't tell you what a joy it was to work alongside such professionals and to enjoy seeing what is real longevity, working alongside David Louis and Don Sanchez, who together have nearly 90 years on the air in this business. That is terrific. I didn't plan on staying in the Bay Area for more than 2 or 3 years, but it just called to me. I loved every minute of being there as well, and I still make my home there, as do my kids. So this is quite an honor, one I didn't expect, one I'm immensely grateful for. So thank you all for the honor. Thank you all for your camaraderie and comradeship. I love you all. Thanks again. Bye.
Congratulations, Eric. One hell of a guy, a great guy. Known him for many years out in the field. Silver Circle inductee, Laura Anthony, KGO, ABC 7. Presenter, Silver Circle class of 2016's Randy Davis, KGO. Video journalist, editor, and just a whole lot more. I've known Randy for 39 years, and yes, the news business truly is in his blood. Randy Davis is son of the legendary late, great KGO reporter Steve Davis, whom I had the honor to work with, so he grew up in the industry. Davis is a video journalist and editor through and through, having worked at KGO since 1982. That is almost 40 years. Before that, he was a freelance film and video photographer working for KGO and my home, KTVU. Winner of several Emmys, he has also been part of the team that received a Peabody Award back in 1989 for earthquake coverage. Davis regularly mentors young reporters and photographers. He has taught lighting seminars at UC Berkeley and volunteers to produce graduation videos for schools. He is also known as Coach Davis in Little League and soccer teams in Walnut Creek. Ladies and gentlemen, Randy Davis.
Thank you, Tom. I had the pleasure of working almost exclusively with Laura for most of 17 years. Laura was always rock solid. On occasion in TV news, technical issues can short circuit any story, But we never missed slot because of Laura. I never found it short of amazing the way she could write a quality script in literally minutes. Laura had a special way with people. Almost without exception, they are willing to share some of the most intimate details of their lives with her. Most of you will remember Diane Whipple. Diane was mauled to death by a dog in San Francisco in 2001. Penny Whipple is Diane Whipple's mother. Laura had been very close to the story. She was asked by the news director at that time to travel to the East Coast to try to get an interview with Penny. Laura got that interview and developed a close relationship with Penny. We half-jokingly call ourselves LARD, an acronym for the Laura Anthony Randy Davis School of Broadcasting. We were tasked with working with and introducing young pup reporters on our workflow and Laura's very impressive skills. Her most accomplished disciple, Cecilia Vega of ABC News, who was, by the way, Laura's best student. We had a list of rules in the LARD handbook. Every story had to have at least one significant fact. We do what we can do, maybe a bit more. Never let anyone beat us on the story, and a couple others. But number one on that list, where and when is lunch? You'd never know it by looking at her, but Laura has quite the appetite. Just adding to her many skills, most of her stories were written over a burger or a hot turkey plate, or whatever the meal of the day. Most importantly to me, Laura always had my back, whether it was a flood in Sonoma or Houston, Texas, an inferno in Paradise, a violent protest in Berkeley, or a shootout on the streets of Oakland. Laura was beside me every day. She made my job easier in every way. Ladies and gentlemen, my very dear friend, Laura Anthony.
I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home.
You really can find some pretty neat things here. This is sort of a vintage 10-speed bicycle. We have a size 12 white shoe. I'm not quite sure where the other one is. Well, Dave, if one looks only at tonight's opening ceremonies, there is no terrorism in the world. There are no dangerous rivalries between countries. Here at the Slough House Inn, just after 11 a.m., there was no water at all on the roadway where I'm standing. Less than a half hour later, it was a foot deep. Sheriff's investigators say Nicole Perez befriended the young boy here at the New Life Tabernacle. But then last summer, over a period of 3 months, they began meeting away from the church. Now that prosecutors will go for the death penalty, Kaczynski's trial here at federal court in Sacramento could be a lot longer at both ends. But it has been raining steadily here throughout the day, throughout the Bay Area, prompting serious concerns for the first time this year about mudslides. Amid the shock and grief she feels over her daughter Diane's awful death, Penny Whipple Kelly feels tremendous anger. Diane's mother and friends here on the East Coast say they are watching the criminal investigation in San Francisco very closely, and that they would like to see the maximum possible penalties imposed on those found responsible for Diane's death. Scott Peterson returned from a Bay Area fishing trip that evening and found his wife missing. The feelings are in the faces of the thousands of people who have descended on tiny Sandy Hook, Connecticut. Tomorrow begins the very private business of burying those who were killed here. It begins with private services for 2 first-grade boys. Even without a lot of help from Mother Nature, here at North Star, they've been able to open the mountain from top to bottom. This generator still burning behind me. The crowd has moved in closer here again. There were some cheers, a sort of an atmosphere of victory, I guess, here. A lone dissenting vote here in Phoenix was Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross. We're going to go talk to this gentleman here. This is JJ. All right, you were telling me you guys were doing rescues all night last night?
Yes, ma'am, up until like 7 at night. We're taking people out of here.
So if people need to get out or want to get out, they need to make a decision.
Yeah, well, and they say this area is going to remain flooded for at least 2 to 3 weeks.
This has unfortunately become a way of life here in Houston. Neighborhoods like this one could see water like this for up to a month. I'm Laura Anthony in Napa in the Silverado Country Club and Resort neighborhood where the sun is setting on a day of utter devastation. The big concern tonight, now that it's nightfall, will those gusty winds kick up again, prompting this fire to spread many more miles. We are actually 2 miles west of Paradise here, just one of many homes that are burning behind me. We can see in this neighborhood, and unfortunately, the wind is starting to pick up. One after another, homes in Paradise are burning. We can show you some video that I shot, actually. It's called a fire devil. We're in Paradise, and it is devastating here. Let's show you these cars. This just gives you an idea of what these folks went through last night and yesterday morning to try to get out of here.
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think the world could be a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make.
Thank you so very much to everyone. My video ended with my husband Ken and my son Joe, and I want to thank them first and foremost for putting up with my career for as long as they have. You all know the drill. You're sitting down to dinner, the phone rings, it's the station, and suddenly you are gone for a day, a week, even longer in some cases. They did not sign up for that, but they have always loved and supported me. I'd also like to thank my sister Lisa and my brother Rich and my family and my friends for all their love and support over the years, for being my most enduring and consistent fans, with an occasional criticism thrown in, especially lately. I'd also like to thank all of you in the silver and gold circles who supported me, not just in my award or this award tonight or induction, but throughout my career. Unfortunately, I cannot see all of you right now, but I know who you are. People like Wayne Friedman, Leanne Melendez, Vic Lee, Carolyn Tyler, Eric Thomas. You all represent the very best in this business, and I'm proud to say many of you are not just colleagues, but also friends, mentors, and idols, professionals who I've looked up to and aspired to be like just a little bit. I especially want to thank Randy Davis, who got to work with me for nearly 20 years and is largely responsible for most of what you saw in that video, some of the very best work I've ever done. We were truly a team of 2 journalists, and I hope it shows. I'd also like to thank him for editing that video. As he described it, Laura ages 30 years in 4.5 minutes. And I'd also like to thank him, of course, for his friendship and his kind words tonight. You may have noticed that many of the people in those pictures were photographers, my partners in the field, many great ones I got to work with, dating back to my days at KCRA, NBC News Channel, Cron, and throughout the last 20 years at KGO. People like Randy Davis, Kathy Cavey, and Mike Clark, to name just a few. Many thanks to all of you for making me look good most of the time. For me, it has always been about the story and the pictures, the sound, and most importantly, the people who trust us to tell their story, sometimes at the worst possible time of their lives. It's never been about me. I'm just here to tell it, to do them justice in the best possible way, with accuracy, objectivity, integrity, and always compassion. I feel so honored that all of you recognize and appreciate those efforts. Cheers.
Congratulations, Laura. And now, the ABC Love Fest continues. Silver Circle inductee, Michael Finney, consumer reporter, ABC 7. Presenter, Silver Circle class of 2015, Dan Ashley, KGO ABC San Francisco news anchor. KGO ABC 7 news anchor Dan Ashley is a very familiar face on Bay Area television sets and that's been going on for 35 years. Ashley is the longest tenured Maine male news anchor in KGO history, starting as an anchor on the 6 and 11 p.m. newscast more than a quarter century ago. He is also an accomplished investigative and special reports reporter. His often high-profile interviews include the likes of President George W. Bush, General Colin Powell, and Tom Brokaw, and that's just to name a few. A graduate of the University of North Carolina with degrees in English and speech communications, he maintains that a reporter's life is a joy, and he has always been grateful to have found a profession that suits him and one that he cares about so very deeply. Ladies and gentlemen, our presenter, Dan Ashley.
This is CBS. A fire update, a conference wrap-up, and a look at what's left of professional football in America. What a jam-packed show. So stay tuned. News 3 is next.
That's how long Michael Finney has been at TV journalism.
The definition of what qualifies for a refund these days seems to be constantly changing. Here's what travelers need to know.
Michael is known here in the Bay Area and around the country for his 30 years at KGO TV, and known by consumer advocates as one of their own.
Michael Finney's defiant challenge to corporate crooks and government abdication. There aren't many like him at television stations around the country.
In my book, you are so approved. Have fun, sweetheart.
Michael has helped literally tens of thousands of viewers, recovering millions of dollars.
Oh my God! That's crazy! Seriously? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Another satisfied customer. Michael's in-depth reporting on California's unemployment office is noteworthy because of his drive to hold the EDD accountable.
Do you believe the EDD is doing a good job?
A tough question. He's known for those.
Mr. Lopez, Michael Finney from Channel 7. This is your opportunity to talk. You don't want to talk? Do you want to apologize to these people?
As you can see, not everyone wants to talk to Michael.
Oh, come on, Chris.
This store manager locked the door when he saw Michael coming.
Come on, man up a little bit, Chris. Let's talk about this.
Here's Michael with suspected Zodiac killer Arthur Lee Allen.
Are you a murderer?
No,
Are you the Zodiac killer?
no, definitely not.
Tough questions are a Michael Finney trademark, but the thread running through Michael's career is compassion. He's always had time for those who ask for help. You can see it from the very start.
These pictures were the first proof Bakersfield adventurer Story Milburn was safe.
Back in the 1980s, Michael was contacted by a frantic family. Their father and his sailboat had been seized by the Nicaraguan military. Using State Department contacts and a Central America-based camera crew, Michael got that sailor freed.
And there's Story Milburn talking with, it looks like a Nicaraguan military officer.
It's exciting. I'm happy. Thanks again.
It's like he can't help himself. Here's Michael when sent to do a standard first snow of the season report.
What you do is you take those chains off and then you lay them out flat, long wide. Okay, slow down. Stop. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
And through it all, Michael has had a great time.
Parlez-vous free?
He went to France to prove anyone could vacation in Europe without spending a dime of their own money. No kidding. Instead, financing a trip using only credit card points and miles. And here, Michael performs a product test. His product tests, well, there's something else.
The ultrasonic dog chaser. Keep those unfriendly dogs out of your way.
My dog's gonna bite you!
This is going to be no problem because I have the dog chaser. Good Lord. Don't make me push this button again.
Michael reported the ultrasonic dog chaser didn't work. Michael likes TV, lives for journalism, and loves happy endings, like this one when scam victims got all of their money back.
You don't know how excited I got.
Oh my God, my money's back.
So happy. I want to cry.
And I just couldn't be any more thankful to Seven on your side.
To have something be good instead of bad, it's just really life affirming.
We will all be okay, thanks to you.
Well, who's that fortunate in life? Those of us that are lucky enough to be in television and here in the Bay Area. I'd like to thank the Academy, the local SF NATAS, Daryl.
Wayne, who nominated me for this. Wayne, what a great guy. Thank you so much. Dan Ashley, who's my best friend, was going to introduce me. I guess he ran away. He had something better to do with his time. No, I know he's there. Dan, thank you for everything. It's phenomenal working with you daily. I've got to thank those who keep taking hits for 7 on Your Side and are always there for us. Tracy Wachowski, our news director, Tom, the general manager, the entire 7 on Your Side crew. I get a lot of love thrown my way because of their hard work. Randall, who I know is watching tonight, Renee, Simone, Josh, who's now in charge of the unit. Absolutely phenomenal having you guys there and doing your work. I want to talk to all the inductees for just a moment. Laura, Eric, unbelievable. Stephanie, I mean, these are some of the finest journalists working in America today or have ever worked in journalism. I'm very proud to be standing in this circle alongside you. And then finally, I miss Lauren. I worked with Lauren, who was a longtime photographer and a smart guy, a really smart guy. I miss him. I wish he could be here tonight. Thank you, everybody.
Michael, thank you. I think we had a technical problem at the beginning. How are you? Let me go back and very quickly repeat what I said. I thought we were on, but I was not. I just want to congratulate you and all of the inductees tonight. And what I said in silence, as it turned out, I'd like to repeat quickly. Michael Finney and I have known one another for 27 years. Michael just celebrated this year 30 years at KGO Television. And his career did not begin here, though. He started in journalism many years before that, beginning his career in Pocatello, Idaho, where he did every job. He shot news, he edited news, he worked the assignment desk, he anchored the news, he reported the news, he was a bureau chief. After Pocatello, Idaho, he moved to Bakersfield, returning to California, where he continued to thrive and grow as a journalist, then went to San Diego, the big city, and started a successful tenure there before returning 30 years ago now to his hometown of Palo Alto in the San Francisco Bay Area. And over those years, Michael Finney has become a household name in this community, the preeminent consumer reporter around the country, one of the most respected in the nation. And when he came here, he did not come as the consumer reporter. He came and was a general assignment reporter. And very quickly, our wonderful general manager at the time, Jim Topping, recognized that Michael would be perfect for this role. Michael's passion for journalism is unmatched. I've known Michael all these years, and I can tell you he is deeply committed to this profession and everything it stands for. He is truly the best among us in terms of his desire to serve the public. And when he took the reins of 7 on Your Side and that unit was created, Michael defined consumer reporting in so many ways. And his passion for journalism guided what he did as a consumer reporter, but it continues to guide his commitment to help people. And he uses the power of what we do for the benefit of others every single day. And I know, having spent enormous amounts of time with Michael, that that is his passion and gives him great satisfaction. And he has literally helped people recover millions of dollars and help navigate very complicated and confusing waters for everyone who has consumer issues. He stands up for the little guy. You know, we say in journalism, as we all know, we're supposed to afflict the comfortable and comfort the afflicted. And that's what Michael does every day. People who need his help. And every single day he goes to work trying to figure out how he can help them. So Michael, I'm just so proud to induct you into the Silver Circle, a well-deserved honor. And there is his wonderful wife, Brenda, who has, hi, Brenda, a television producer herself, also a very, very dear friend. And what a team you guys have been. And you've had the advantage, Michael, of having an amazing woman who understands the demands of television all these years, having worked with that. But you have done such wonderful work. And I'm just thrilled to be here for you tonight, and also for all of the inductees, just a tremendous group of people that I'm proud to associate with and proud to be among. So congratulations, Michael.
Dan, thank you very much. And I really do have to thank my family. The thing is, this family is based on journalism and public service, so it doesn't come as a shock to anybody that someone isn't home. Brenda's a television producer. That's where we met, both working in a newsroom. Our children grew up steeped in journalism. They knew how it worked. We're very fortunate. I'm very fortunate. No one's ever been luckier than me that I get to wake up every day and go help someone. Who gets to do that? Go help someone? Unbelievable. Dan, I appreciate everything you just said. Wow. Thank you. And the Academy. Thank you. Tom?
And congratulations to you and everybody else who's now newly inducted into the Silver Circle. Another quote. I've won some awards and I'm very proud of those accomplishments, but I don't think there's anything greater than to come home and to be recognized at home. This is the pinnacle. A guy named Bobby Orr. We now go to the Gold Circle inductees, 50 years in the business. Our first inductee, Joe Moore, anchor, KHON2, Honolulu, Hawaii. The presenter, Silver Circle class of 2004, Pamela Young, journalist, producer at KHON. Pamela is a veteran producer at KHON and a Hawaiian native with a San Francisco master's degree, best of both worlds. In 1975, Ms. Young became a reporter at KPIX, eventually moving over to public television station KQED. But she never forgot her roots and returned to the land of aloha and mahalo, and most of all, home sweet home. There, in front of and behind the camera, she won 12 Emmys, and she practiced her craft at stations KHON, KGMB, and KITV. Active in a variety of community service programs, Ms. Young also serves as the NATAS Vice President for Hawaii and is currently a NATAS National Trustee. She was presented the Governor's Service Medal in 2013 and the Governor's Citation in 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, 12-time Emmy Award winner, Pamela Young.
Mahalo and aloha from the islands. I can truthfully say there's probably not a Hawaii resident who does not know the name Joe Moore, either as a news anchor, a sportscaster, a radio host, a playwright, an actor, and an author.
For more than 5 decades, Joe Moore has been the face of local television with consistent ratings dominance, while being a loyal supporter of local theater, the symphony, public radio, and many other nonprofit organizations.
But to get more of Joe, we went to the people who really know him.
Joe Moore and I have been friends for over 50 years, which makes him sound a little old. Maybe I should say just over half a century. We met in Vietnam. He was in Armed Forces Television. We became fast friends, and we've been best buds ever since. And what he has accomplished in his business is nothing short of amazing. He has one of the unique styles in the history of broadcast journalism, and no one makes me laugh more than Joe.
Oh, hey, oh. April Fools!
We've appeared together on stage and television, and so I just wish we didn't have so many miles between us. No one deserves this honor more, and I'm proud to be a part of this event. Joe, I'll see you on the stage next summer.
You know, we've known each other from the earliest days as a sportscaster. When I was a young assistant football coach at the University of Hawaii, interviewed by you many times, and then to competing against you when you transitioned to the anchor desk, and then as your general manager of KHON2, having to put up with your antics and your many contract demands as our star male anchor. Yeah, but I never called you diva. And now I am mayor of the city and county of Honolulu, having to listen to you criticize me and my administration. I mean, how did that happen? You truly are a special treasure to the people of Hawaii. Well done, my friend. Exceedingly well done.
Our reporters are top-notch.
Since the 1980s, the name Joe Moore has been synonymous with KHON2 and Hawaii's #1 news. Through every disaster, every election, every major event, Joe has been here for all of us. To be #1 in anything for over 40 years is an unbelievable accomplishment. And to this day, Joe remains #1. Thank you, Joe, for your lifetime of service. On behalf of Nexstar and our team here at KHON2, congratulations for this very important Gold Circle Award.
Joe Moore is like Tom Brady. He's been around forever and continues to deliver. Over his many years as news anchor, he's had a number of general managers, news directors, even owners who have had their own idea of how things should go. Through it all, Joe has been the steady hand at the helm. His ability to adapt and perform at such a high level for such a long time is really quite remarkable. Congratulations on the Gold Circle, Joe.
Finally tonight, finally tonight.
Finally tonight.
Finally tonight, I'm Bryce Moore, Joe's son. I've only been around for less than half of my dad's news career, but I've seen the impact he's had on broadcast journalism in Hawaii. As an aspiring journalist myself, his poise, pursuit of perfection, and just his sensibility inspire me more than words can describe. Not to mention the 2 books he wrote, movies he starred in, TV series he appeared in, and the many plays he put together for local nonprofits. He's kept Hawaii informed and entertained for over 50 years. So from the bottom of my heart, Dad, thank you. You've earned this.
It is my privilege and honor to introduce inductee to the Gold Circle, Joe Moore.
Thanks, Pamela. How cool is that? My 23-year-old son, Bryce, who joined our news team as a multimedia journalist about a year ago, helping usher his dear old dad into the Gold Circle. Thanks, Bryce. And thanks to all those special friends and colleagues you just heard from. I appreciate the testimonials. 52 years on television in Hawaii. I tell you, it's a tough and dirty job, but somebody had to do it. It occurred to me that tonight would be a great occasion to announce my retirement. Except for the fact I'm still enjoying working, and I figure it'll be at least a couple more years before I call it a career. Pamela Young, thank you, my longtime friend and colleague, not only for putting together the video presentation and for lining up the folks who gave testimonials, but also thanks for nominating me to the Gold Circle. And while I'm at it, thank you to the Academy's Board of Governors for voting me into this exclusive club. I tell you, it was a bit mind-boggling to learn that I'm the first person from Hawaii to join the Gold Circle. There's some people I want to thank for being instrumental in making my journey to this point in my career possible. The late Bob Seavey, news director and anchorman at KGMB, who in 1969 hired me right out of the Army for my first job in Hawaii as a sportscaster. Bob was my mentor, friend, and prime example of what a professional newsman should be. George Hager, the general manager at KHON TV, who in 1978 hired me to be sports director. And then 2 years later, the new GM, Bill Snyder, who promoted me to solo news anchor on our 5:30, 6, and 10 p.m. newscast. It wasn't until years later I found out it wasn't actually Bill's idea. It was his wife, Jackie, who told him he should do it. So thank you, Jackie. I've been fortunate to work for some great news directors. The late Wally Zimmerman, Kent Baker, Jim McCoy, and for the last 15 years, Lori Silva, who I first had the pleasure of working with when she produced our 10 o'clock news in my early days as anchorman. I couldn't have picked better news directors if I'd searched the country. And general managers, in addition to George Hager and Bill Snyder, Kent Baker, who moved from news director to GM, Rick Blangiardi, who's been a dear friend since the early 70s. And for the past 8 years, Christina Lockwood. To say our station is blessed to have her as GM is an understatement. Of course, no anchorman or woman could be successful without a great team around them. Reporters, producers, editors, directors, engineers, graphics designers, RoboCam operators, marketing and sales executives. Again, it's been my privilege over the years to work with many of Hawaii's top professionals in all these categories. And finally, the most special person, the love of my life, my wife, Teresa. We've been at each other's side for more than 30 years. She's the one who does this. Psst. Lets some air out of my head when I get too impressed with myself. With heartfelt thanks to all of these people, I gratefully accept induction into the Gold Circle. And I'll close with the words I use every night to end our KHON2 News. Have a great night and a terrific tomorrow.
Great story. Gold Circle inductee, sportscaster Barry Tompkins, presenter, the legendary Ron Majors, retired WOLS Chicago anchor and former KPIXer. The Bay Area broadcast audience knew Ron Majors as an anchor back in the early days from 1968 to 74. He started out as a high schooler, working part-time as a radio host, as did I. Majors then moved into television in 1965 at KEZI in Eugene, Oregon, as a reporter. Then it was off to producing and anchoring the 11 p.m. news at KGW-TV, Portland. Then came KPIX-TV in San Francisco, where he was hired as an anchor, ultimately leaving for the Windy City. He made national headlines in 1997 when he and his co-anchor resigned the 5, 6, and 10 o'clock news in Chicago's WMAQ when they hired commentator Jerry Springer. That led him to his anchorship at Chicago powerhouse WLS in 1998, first on his 5 p.m. newscast, then to the 10 p.m. news team. He retired in 2016, but he now is the speaker and well at work for Barry Tompkins. Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Majors.
I'm Ron Majors, a retired TV news reporter and anchor, most recently in Chicago, who has known our honoree Barry Tompkins a long time. He was born and raised in the avenues of San Francisco. Don't forget that, because he never did. With apologies to Tony Bennett, Barry's heart never left San Francisco. He was and is a world traveler for fun and because of work. Don't ask how many countries he's visited for fun, and I still can't count the places he practiced the art and craft of broadcasting. Start with the usual: football, basketball, baseball, did all those, college, pro. I know everybody did them, he did more. How about other things he did? Tennis, yeah, some minor events, Wimbledon, French Open, US Open. Horse racing, you might recognize the Kentucky Derby and the Triple Crown. He's done those. How about the Olympics? Yeah, check. Super Bowl, of course, check. Then throw in several hundred boxing matches that earned him a spot in the Boxing Hall of Fame. In fact, I would argue that when Barry and Sugar Ray Leonard and Larry Merchant started doing boxing in the early days of HBO, they moved that sport to a new audience and a kind of golden age. Barry and I first worked together at KPIX in San Francisco in 1968, black and white film. We were lucky enough to be part of local news on television coming of age. I remember funny things about it. I remember a news executive complaining to Barry that too much expensive film was being shot to get just a few highlights from a San Francisco Giants game. The executive suggested we just shoot the home runs and the interesting plays. I'm sure there are no news executives like that still around. Well, Barry worked around that the way he usually did, with grace and style, still managing to do it his way. He never forgot he was basically covering grown men playing games, but he always found ways to make it interesting. Never just about the scores. He's a natural writer with an amazing memory. He could do a local sports cast off a napkin covered with what looked like chicken scratching, but it was actually well thought out sentences and some unforgettable phrases locked in his brain. His forte has always been live coverage and making sense of whatever is thrown at him. His humor was and is essential and is still exhibited in a weekly column in the Marin Independent Journal. Make no mistake, my friend of more than 50 years is a San Francisco one-of-a-kind whose work I admired then and still do today. I'm so grateful you have chosen to honor this lifetime of excellence, Barry Tompkins.
It's over. That's all. And we have a new era in boxing.
I'm not really sure how I got there. To be honest, I never aspired to be a sportscaster. I was going to make $1 million in show business, singing rock and roll. Needless to say, that didn't work out so well. Life would be a dream, sweetheart. But I somehow wound up at KCBS Radio and eventually annoyed the sports director so much that he put me on the air. Just to get rid of me, I think. One day, a friend told me about a job opening at KPIX and said I should check it out. I got hired that very day. I was a little green, but I sure did dress well.
One of the great showmen of all time, Muhammad Ali, will play here this evening.
But you're going to try to just get him early, round 5, huh?
Round 5.
There's no question about it at all. I was going to get him in 8 to show you I was great, but the sucker kept talking jive, so we cut it to 5. Oh!
I learned a lot in those days of primitive television, enough that 6 years later, I found myself at WNBC in New York, working with people I'd only watched on TV.
The WNBC TV Sports Complex, and joining us tonight with sports, here is Barry Tompkins. Barry?
And talking about hockey, having now disposed of the Buffalo Sabres, the New York Islanders.
It was just over a year later that I somehow found myself at the NBC Sports Network doing everything from college basketball to the Olympic Games. It was also about that time that I began an almost 40-year relationship with the Pac-12 Conference.
And hello again, everybody. I'm Barry Tompkins, my partner, Petros Papadakis. And
over the years, I did hundreds of games with the Ducks, the Bears, the Wildcats, the Bruins, the Huskies. And one time, I even did a show with the Tigers. I was doing a show in Russia in 1979 when a colleague asked me if I was interested in doing some work for a little cable company that was about to go national. I didn't even know what cable television was. I found out the little cable company was HBO.
Hurst starts down the grab and now goes down through the ropes.
It turned out to be the golden era of boxing. And over the course of almost 10 years, I had a chance to call some of the biggest fights in history.
While Handler continues to dish out punishment. And now Hurst bounces right back. This may be the most brutal, even round you've ever seen in boxing.
And then there's one fight that truly was unreal.
Rocky taking punishment, trying to get inside.
It didn't end with boxing. Every summer for 14 years, I had a front row seat at the Wimbledon Tennis Championships and shared this legendary moment with John McEnroe.
You cannot be serious! That ball was on the line. Chalk flew up.
And this one with Michael Chang at the French Open. He served underhand. As a play-by-play commentator, you are only as good as the person sitting next to you. So how lucky has this washed-up rock and roll singer been to sit alongside some of sport's biggest names? Billie Jean King and Arthur Ashe, who were there for all my time at Wimbledon. Chris Evert, Willie Mays, Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. Sugar Ray Leonard, who shared a microphone with me for 8 years at HBO. Al Bernstein, with whom I did over 200 shows in my 7 years at ESPN. Hank Kashiwa and Kristen Cooper. We traveled the world doing World Cup skiing. And there was the World Figure Skating Championships with Scott Hamilton. Dan Balwamity, a guy I've known since we were kids, has been alongside me for 40 years on college basketball. Steve Farhood, my brains currently at Showtime. I was honored to join him in our mutual induction to the International Boxing Hall of Fame. It's been 53 years of doing 53 different sports at KCBS, KPIX, WNBC, NBC Sports, HBO, ESPN, Fox Sports, and currently Showtime Sports. And quite frankly, I'm just about out of networks. But you know what? It's been a hell of a ride. Well, first of all, let me thank Ron Majors. Ron continues to be my best friend, and oh, by the way, the best anchorman I've ever worked with. You know, I've often thought, as a matter of fact, back in those early years at KPIX, had there been the social media scrutiny that there is today, I'm reasonably sure Ron and I would probably be wearing paper hats and saying, "Fries with that burger, sir," today. When I look back on it all, were it not for a day here and a day there, just simply standing in the right place amongst the right people at the right time, I honestly have no idea where I might be. I know for sure I wouldn't be holding this plaque, giving thanks for this honor. I was a writer, and I came to KCBS Radio to write on-air promos back in 1966. After a time, I annoyed the sports director, Don Klein, so much, telling him, "I'm a great sports fan. I know how to write. I can write your commentaries. Let me go out and do interviews." I bothered him so much, he finally hired me, and I'm sure he did it just to get me out of his face. And I say that despite the fact that when management changed and a new regime came into KCBS radio, I was called into the general manager's office and he told me, "You're never going to make it in broadcasting. You just don't have the voice for it." And then one day I was having lunch with another San Francisco icon, Hank Greenwald. And Hank said to me, "I just turned down a job at KPIX. You might give this guy a call." He gave me the number and I went back to KCBS and I called the program director at KPIX and he said, "When can you come over?" And I said, "As soon as I get off work." I got off work, I got in my car, I went over there, and by the time I got home for dinner, I'd been hired. And the very first night that I was on the air at KPIX was also the very first time I'd ever so much as stepped foot in a television station. I left KPIX with Ron Majors, and shortly after we left there, he and I were driving in the car going to the airport. Ron was going off to anchor the news at KSTP in Minneapolis, and I was going off to WNBC in New York to do sports. And Ron looked at me, and it wasn't really kidding at all. If it was kidding on the score. He said, "How does it feel to be 30 years old? We were once. And know that the best place you're ever going to work is behind you." And there was something to what Ron said. In the years to follow, I worked at HBO, I worked at NBC, I worked at ESPN, I worked at Fox Sports Net, and now I work at Showtime Sports. And most everything I learned that got me to these places and these events I never dreamt I'd see, let alone broadcast, I learned in those first few years at KPIX. So I'm beyond grateful to be recognized in my hometown for just hanging around for 50 or so years. There are too many people. I wanted to thank everybody who helped me along this long and winding road. And obviously, because of time constraints, I just can't do it. There isn't enough time. But in closing, I say this to this Academy. Thanks for letting me prove that a radio station general manager could be wrong. Thanks very much.
Extraordinary. And thank all of you. I want to leave you with one final quote, and that is this. "Oh, what a shock. My career must be slipping. This is the first time I've ever been available to actually pick up an award." Sir Michael Caine. My part is done. The party continues on social media and on Zoom, and we will see you again next year. Only next year, it will be in person. Pick it up personally. Thank you.
And thank you, Tom. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. You did a fantastic job. Tonight's efforts tonight would not be possible without the efforts of our editor, Steve Schlisky, director David Santiago Machuca, Daryl Compton for producing. And like Tom says, don't go anywhere. The party continues on Zoom. So please congratulate all of our inductees over there and log in with your cameras on. Wayne?
I'm just going to say the same thing. That gathering continues on Zoom. Please log in, turn on your cameras, let everybody see your faces. And once again, congratulations to Joe, to Barry, to Adrian, to Stephanie, to Laura, to Michael, to Eric, to Stanton, to Frank. Congratulations. And thanks to all the people who did work behind the scenes, who we've already mentioned and brought this evening to life. So from here in Pinehurst, North Carolina, thank you and good evening.
And from Sacramento, California, thank you and good night, everyone.